Hey everybody, it's Mary here again, and I am the lady behind the lens at Mary Breuer Photos, and I'm a professional photographer and videographer, and you, my friend, are in this group here on Facebook, and or you might even be watching this course later on. But this video today, I am talking specifically about ISO, or ISO is what some people have called it before in the past. So just to kind of give you a little bit of background knowledge here, I have been spending the last couple of weeks breaking down DSLR cameras, the settings, and what we're going to be, or how to use your DSLR camera. So the first video that we did a couple of weeks ago, we talked about what kind of camera to buy, where to buy it, how to get it, lenses, all that kind of stuff. So if you have missed that video, be sure to scroll back a little bit and take a look at that. We also talked about shutter speed in that same video, so be sure to take a listen to what shutter speed is. And then last week we talked about f-stop or aperture and broke that down. And this week we're talking about ISO. And the reason I'm doing it in this order is because these are the three settings that you're going to need to really understand and know in order to be able to get yourself out of auto mode and into manual mode and know what to manipulate and when. So I needed to take a minute to just kind of explain to you in the simplest terms possible what each of them means and what function they have and what they do. And then that way you can put it all together and actually know how to manipulate your settings on your camera. So with that being said, let's go ahead and dive into what is ISO. So ISO, the way that I like to talk about it is actually, again, I'm not going to sit here and give you all the fancy names. You can actually Google it and look it up for yourself if you'd like to. But ISO for me just means in search of light. In search of light. That's what it means. Now, back in the day when it wasn't a digital world and things were all simply just film, you could actually buy film that had more sensitivity to light. So that's actually what ISO is it is a sensitivity in your camera that you can adjust to be able to make your image brighter or darker. So that's the easiest way to explain it. Now, the caveat in that is that if you increase your ISO, you could, or you will, not you could, but you will decrease the quality of your photo, meaning that it might get a little noisy or grainy or look like not as sharp. Now, don't get me wrong, grain isn't necessarily bad. It's just sometimes if you're looking at something really closely, it can actually just distort the image a little bit too much. So that's where it can get dicey on that end. And then the lower your ISO setting is, the more clear or crystal clear your images will actually be. So when you're talking about ISO and you're using it with the other modes, you can actually, put your ISO in automatic. And what that does is it allows your camera to make the decision for you, meaning, okay, if I put my camera in automatic ISO, as I'm moving the lens around, let me stop that. As I'm moving my lens around here, the camera sensors are determining, okay, this needs more light, this needs less light, so it'll fluctuate your ISO for you. Now, what's nice is that when you start to really understand what ISO does and how to manipulate it, you get to be the person that makes that decision. So you're going to say, oh, it's really dark in here, so I need to increase my ISO. Typically, I use my ISO and my aperture are my two things that I adjust the most, because I know with my shutter speed how much I shake. So you'll get to know yourself as you start unfolding all of the secrets of your camera here. But that is essentially what ISO is. And this video isn't going to be any longer because next week what I'm going to talk about is auto mode. And basically we're going to put everything together next week, the three different settings, and we're going to put that together for auto mode and break down what happens inside of your camera during auto mode. So that way you can go ahead and actually just start shooting. So go ahead and look up your camera settings right now and find out where the ISO adjustment button is. How can you adjust it? Sometimes you have to do a couple of things. For me, I have to press the ISO button on the back of my camera, where it says ISO back there. And I have to press that at the same time that I'm turning one of the wheels to increase or decrease my ISO. So that's your homework. I want you to figure out how can you adjust your ISO in your camera and get ready for that. Then if you want to have extra credit, figure out how do you adjust your aperture. So that's that other little number. So an ISO usually starts at 100 and it can go all the way up to, like, mine can go up to 6,000, but typically it doesn't go, you don't want to go past, I don't like going past around 2,000 or 3,000 if I can help it. But play around with it. See how it goes. Take a picture, increase it, decrease it, and watch what happens. And then figure out how to adjust your aperture, and then figure out how do you adjust your shutter speed. So know how to start manipulating all of these different settings on your camera just simply by looking it up. Because I don't know what camera you have, it could all be in just different various places. So look it up and start playing around with the settings and seeing what you can make out of it. Next week we're going to talk about auto mode, and then we'll start digging into the manual mode and getting more into this. So hope you enjoyed that. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'll be happy to answer them for you.